Hi, I'm Noah Garcia, and this is my submission video for Coolest Projects 2022 for my project AllerG, which is my solution to people with food allergies who have trouble figuring out what they can eat at restaurants. Again, I'm Noah Garcia, and I'm a high school sophomore from Austin, Texas. I've participated in Coolest Projects before for 2 years, and both of my projects then have been games. This is my first app submission. And I've been part of my local chapter of Coder Dojo for 7 years, since I was around 9. I'm 15 years old now. I also have a lethal food allergy to walnuts and pecans, which I found out at less than a year old after I had an allergic reaction to a cookie. I haven't had an anaphylactic reaction since I was 4 years old, which is the result of me being careful and also advances in technology. Advances in technology have solved a lot of the problem for people with severe food allergies, and not a lot of people die anymore thanks to them. And some of these are pretty simple. Menus and labels for food now include allergy information in a lot of places. In the US, allergy information has to appear on ingredient labels, and it will sometimes appear in menus in the United States. And even if the menu doesn't help, and you have an allergic reaction, for example, an anaphylactic reaction, which is a severe, life-threatening reaction where the airways in the throat close up, then there's a solution. EpiPens are a commercial auto-injector for epinephrine, which can delay anaphylactic reactions and save your life. And they're very easy to use, and this is a picture of one. It's not mine, but I have one, and I have several friends who use them very often. So with these advances in mind, the problem should be pretty much finished. If you're careful, read the menu, and you have an EpiPen on you, then you should survive, and navigating menus should be pretty easy. But there's a lot of problems with all of these solutions. For example, menus don't always include allergen information at restaurants. They actually very rarely do. This is a picture of a waiver I had to sign at a restaurant back in September, which waives my right to sue that restaurant if I have an allergic reaction to the menu. I find that reasonable. I don't have any ill will toward that restaurant, and the food was great. And I would have liked if the menu had included better allergy information. And further, EpiPens are really expensive for something that you hopefully don't even need, and can cost you your life if you don't have at the right time. The lowest price, according to this website, is around $100, and the average is around $300. And the cost of the EpiPen Junior, which is half the dosage, is twice the price, which I find a little bit silly. And actually, in response to this, the people who make EpiPen are actually being sued. And despite all these solutions, people still go to the hospital, and your quality of life is still detrimented if you have a food allergy, because you'll go to the emergency room for anaphylaxis a lot if you have that reaction. And even with the EpiPen, you still have to go. And it can ruin your night out very easily. And even if they're not lethal, it's not a lot of fun. Topical reactions are very common, and you can spend the rest of the night with a rash, popping a Benadryl and waiting for it to go away. This is a little story. In 2019, I had the incredible fortune to go to Italy for a coding competition called Kids Game Jam. I had a great time. I got to go with friends. The competition was fun, and the coordinators were really nice. And it was great. But what this photo does not show is that every night I went to bed wondering if I would be able to breathe when I woke up. Because every night there, after I had dinner, I had an extended allergic reaction to whatever we ate. Part of the problem there was that the menu was in a language that I didn't understand, and I didn't speak the same language as the staff. And this situation happens a lot to people who have food allergies and have to navigate dinners at restaurants like it's a maze. And my ideal solution to this problem is to have a menu for wherever. that has allergy information for people who need it. One option is to wait for management to tell us what allergens are in the menu, or we can write it down ourselves and tell other people about it. And my platform for that is called AllerG. So AllerG, in summary, is an app that lets us crowdsource information about allergens on restaurant menus or even in traditional recipes. For example, pesto, a pasta sauce, has pine nuts in it. Users can ask about allergens at a restaurant, and they can report their results to the app so that other patrons on the app can see what's safe to eat the next time that they're there. And if you own a restaurant, you can sign up. You can add a verified entry to the menu so that people know that that source is authoritative. And existing solutions to this problem already exist. AllerG Eats and Spoken are both pre-existing apps for doing this exact same thing. AllerG Eats has some problems. The last time that I checked, people have some complaints, and I don't think you can port your own things crowdsourced. It's verified entries only, which is a bit of a problem for a slow platform. Spoken is perfect. Spoken is completely featured, and it has a wonderful community. It has lots of entries. It has blog posts, and it has developers that acquiesce to the needs of the community. What it doesn't have is the best platform support. Spoken is only for iOS users, and if you have an iPhone, Spoken is the best platform for you. You should go use Spoken to solve your problems. But I and a lot of my friends who have food allergies don't have iPhones, and we can't use Spoken to manage our allergies. So my goal for AllerG is not to replace Spoken, but to be an accessible version of Spoken for people who can't use it. While Spoken is feature complete, AllerG aims instead not to be totally feature complete at first, but to be totally accessible to everybody. The modern web is an easy solution to this. AllerG's front end is written in React Native, which can be deployed on the web as a progressive web app, or on Android, or iOS, or Windows, or Mac. The back end of the app is also readily documented and very permissive, which allows developers to write their own front ends for limited or older platforms. For example, you could write a server CGI script that makes the calls in HTML forms and allows people to use the platform without needing to run JavaScript at all. And this is a UI mockup for the app. It adheres to some material design principles, primarily that everything should be available at a glance, as this includes some information about the general allergy rating. This is an allergy friendliness rating and not a rating of the food. And it includes some icons to quickly show you what allergens are frequently reported at this restaurant. This is a fictional restaurant called Betty's Burritos, and it includes icons for peanuts, milk, and this check mark, which indicates that there are verified entries in this page. There are some fields here. At a glance shows you the most frequently reported allergens at this restaurant. And if you have an account registered and you have your allergens filled out there, it'll show you which meals have allergens that you could perhaps be allergic to. And any web backend has to have three things. It needs to be fast, it needs to be efficient, and it needs to be able to handle multiple users at once very easily. And the best solution that I could find for that was to write AllerG's backend in Go, which is a language very commonly used for server architectures. And this allows it to be very fast and very deployable. And it uses int, which is Facebook's object relational mapping, as its ORM, which allows it to store data in a graph and pull off some neat tricks with data. And this is a graph of AllerG's data structure. It's very simple, and it's actually even simpler now, because in a previous version I used to make a distinction between menu items and dishes, where menu items can be added to restaurants but dishes cannot. In the current version, I've reduced these two. One of AllerG's main goals is ease of use. The record query process shouldn't be tedious like you're a historian noting what you've eaten at this restaurant, but as fluid as possible for users. Recording is as easy as selecting a place, filling out the items that concern you, and submitting your suspected allergens. Searching a menu is even easier. Possible allergens are presented to you at a glance from search results, and details are available if you visit the menu directly. This was present in the UI mockup. And integrations make this even easier. Integrating with Google's extensive Place API, which powers Google Maps, makes the recording process much quicker. Instead of manually recording each field, you can select a restaurant from Google Maps and override specific fields, like its name or its location. Google also serves menu information on their own website, which includes allergens, and provides APIs to update that for business owners, but it does not provide an API to get that information, so I can't use it on the platform. AllerG also aims to be very flexible. Its graph structure is open to restructuring, and the miscellaneous fields present in places like the comment section or in the allergen fields, which are just text. You can add whatever text you like, which is mapped to items using a predefined set, or given a miscellaneous icon and a label. These miscellaneous fields allow community members to create their own emergent procedures. For example, AllerG is geared towards people with food allergies, like myself, but it could easily be used by people with other dietary restrictions, like vegans, or people who are allergic to gluten. And if at some point we need to add a field to a struct, like a confidence level in allergen reports, which is a feature that I think is very attractive and I want to add later in the future, then Ent allows the database to be easily migrated to add the new field. And unfortunately, AllerG is not finished. No front end exists yet, although there is a sketch, and the backend is in progress and is published on my GitHub page. At the time of writing, the endpoints for recording places, meals, and allergens is complete, and those features are getting polished. Extra features like Google Places integration, user profiles, and verified contributions are next. I'm currently using Firebase as an auth source so that users can sign in if they want to with an email password or any other common login source like Google. This is a very rough roadmap of the backend and the front end. The API and the front end are both sketched, and the suggestion API is finished. The query endpoints for the front end are almost finished, and after that, searches, Google Places, integration, and content filtering to avoid spamming are in the future. The front end sketch is a quarter done. After that, there is a lot more steps than this, but this is a rough view of what the stages of development should look like. This is again the UI mockup. The source for the backend is on GitHub at this link, and you can go visit it. And if you want to help, then you can. I'm really glad that you decided to. If you want to write a front end for it, I'm also glad if you can do that. I am disappointed that I didn't have enough time to finish my project for Coolest Projects, but I'm glad to present my idea, and I hope it can be helpful for anyone who has food allergies like I do. And in the future, this project will be finished, and I can release it so that people who have the same issue that I do don't have such a hard time navigating restaurant menus. I'm glad to submit my project to Coolest Projects, and good luck to the Coolest Project. Bye.